clearly.
Oh, that's right, that's very nice. You're here, your son's birthday. Yeah, that's a big problem. I got the last one, he's like, not really got it.
Oh, good. Where's he working?
I do. But he doesn't have his job at
One
Christmas.
that helps with the, I think it's called the Millbrook Tribune. Get, it's like, yeah, it disseminates information and. I don't, but because of the highway department, Pine Plains, Millbrook, Hyde Park send us information. That's it. Oh, very cool.
Give the state.
Yeah.
Is he still living at home? Well, I mean, I like to farm until 25. Yeah. I do too. I would just stay forever. So. I liked my house.
Okay, 6:30, call the meeting to order. This is the June 13th, 2023 Town Board meeting, and a welcome back to our Town Supervisor, who's been away for a couple of months, right? And let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with the minutes. Approve the town board minutes from May 9, 2023. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. And now, Teresa, our town assessor, will speak for a few minutes about assessments.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. I'm Teresa Stagner. I'm the assessor for the town of Clinton. I've been the assessor for almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years October 1st. Anyway, so first of all, I just want to go over a little bit of the entire county and how we did compare to the rest of the towns in the county. So our increase was overall was 11.83%, our change from year to year from 2022 to 2023. We saw a similar increase as Stanford. You'd kind of expect that, sort of a similar town. Those towns that have not done revaluations in a very long time, Dover, Hyde Park, and Pauling, saw the biggest increases in their percentages. So town of Hyde Park went up 16.23%, which is kind of important to us because we share the school district with them. So, and then let's see, Milan went up 11.22 and Rhinebeck went up 13.9%. Now the Rhinebeck increase was indicative of what you would see also with the Rhinebeck School District. So I actually, when I did my analysis, I initially did it the way I've done it the last couple of years, which is based on the buildings, the property class, the building style in the neighborhood. However, this year I did it strictly by school district because I saw a bigger difference between the school districts overall. So if you were in the Rhinebeck School District, you saw a little over 14% increase. If you were in the Hyde Park School District, you saw a little bit over 11. Millbrook was about 9, and Pine Plains only saw about a 7% increase, and that was, I think it was a little bit more than that, 8%. And that was very similar to what the towns themselves, so town of Pine Plains saw the smallest increase. They had a 6.39% increase year to year. So my numbers, the numbers that the county came up with basically bolster my numbers that I determined. So I have to, this has to be approved by New York State. So what I did after those numbers came out, I looked at the total taxable assessed value for each one of the towns within the school districts. It's a little hard for me to do Pine Plains because 4 of the towns are in Columbia County, and I can't look at those assessment rolls currently. The others, most of them had changed their assessments due to grievances that they received, but some of them hadn't yet. So I had to estimate the tax rates a little bit for the school districts, but they're pretty close. So, so what I found was I can give you kind of a general idea based on school district and your assessment, average assessments, about what you can see as a tax increase. So, for instance, the Hyde Park School, if your assessment was $500,000 last year, it would be $558 this year. You're going to see about a $113 increase in your school tax. So, though the assessment went up significantly, your taxes will not. And that's a 1.17% increase. And had the Hyde Park School District adopted a smaller levy, I was really hoping they'd do something more in the line of Rhinebeck and Pine Plains, 2.7, 2.8. They had the biggest levy increase, 3.7%. So had they adopted something a little lower, your taxes would have gone down. So actually, Hyde Park and Rhinebeck, if your assessment is 500, if it was 500 last year, it'd be 571 this year. You're going to see about $141 increase in your school tax. And then Millbrook and Pine Plains, you will see a decrease of about $140. So just because your assessment goes up does not mean your taxes are going up. But like I said, for 2 of the school districts, they are a little bit, but only. Yeah, had they not I was pretty upset with Hyde Park adopting such a high levy. But anyway, that's the way it goes, you know. Yeah, and the residents in the Hyde Park School District, you vote on the school budget every year. But I know what the school budget is, and you don't want to, you know. I don't want to get into that, but. And, you know, we all know that Hyde Park has not done a revaluation in a long time, so that's a part of the problem, too, because if you do a revaluation and you stay on top of it, you find the value in the town that's missing. So because Hyde Park hasn't done a revaluation since, I don't know, the 90s or something, there's value that's out there that they are not counting, a lot of it. So that keeps the tax rates elevated. Okay, so anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of phone calls about people that are in Hyde Park, particularly over on Browning Road. And so Hyde Park, they dropped their equalization rate?
They dropped their equalization rate. Well, no, the equalization, yeah, no, their equalization rate went down. Yes, it went down, what did I say?
Like 42% or something?
16.23%. So it went from 44.75 to 38.5.
38.5.
Correct. So they will get a bigger, they'll get the brunt of the tax
Yeah, because
increase.
somebody had said that they had emailed, I don't know if it was the assessor, I think it was somebody from the Hyde Park School, but they said that because they had dropped down to that 38%, that our taxes should not have gone up, but because of Hyde Park School having gone up, he was actually getting like that $150 increase in his taxes.
Right, exactly, because they adopted 3.7%.
And people have to understand that we have no control over what goes on in the school tax, so.
Right. Well, you have control on the levy because you vote on the school budget, but.
Well, they have control.
They have.
We as the town board don't have
No,
control.
you don't. You don't
No.
have any control. We don't have any control, right? No.
Teresa, you said that the average increase in the assessment was 11.8% across the town. Is that
Across
right?
the whole town, correct.
What is that? Do you have any sense what the average in terms of dollar amount would be?
So your average assessment, I believe, is about $500,000 now, maybe from 475 to 500. So I need a calculator, but I left it. See? Okay, it's a solar calculator.
Go by the window.
Okay, never, that's all right. That's okay. No problem. And also, I'd be curious about the mean also, what the mean increase was.
What the what?
The mean increase, not
The mean increase?
as opposed to the average increase. If there's
Okay.
any way of finding that out.
Right, I'd have to do, yeah, I'd
Okay,
do the
all right.
analysis. I thought you were talking about taxes, and I wanted to give you an idea of
Oh,
what
okay,
the
yeah, no, that's
taxes are
fine.
going to go up,
Sure,
but,
that's fine.
so, that's what I focused on.
Catherine, you were the one who suggested this. You have any other questions for Teresa
I
specifically?
don't, she covered exactly what
Okay.
I began, because I was getting questions and
Yeah.
phone calls, so, thank you. I was getting questions and phone calls as well, so that's,
Okay.
I wanted her to come and
Good.
talk about how it would, because really, people want to know the bottom line, right? How is that going to affect my taxes?
Anything?
So you
Chris,
answered
no?
that. Thank you.
So like I said, since the average property saw an 11.83% increase, but you're not going to see that in your taxes. It'll be a percentage or two.
Anybody in the audience? Questions for Teresa? Going once? No. Going twice? Okay.
Thanks for coming. I
problem.
appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Teresa.
Teresa. We'll have public discussion for items that are on the agenda. Is there anybody in the audience who wants to speak about items that are on the agenda at public discussion? If not, we'll move on to supervisors' comments.
So, as you can hear, my voice is a little different. Not much has changed, but my voice will improve over time. I want to thank Elliot and the whole board. I want to thank Carol and Mary and, Elliot for his signature and Carol for ARPA reporting.
You're the only signature that's not
Yeah.
neater than mine.
I'm ramping up my activities. I'll be full-time soon. My physical and speech therapies are sort of taking a front seat to everything. So the first week of July, we'll be moving full steam ahead, I think. I want to announce, though, that the Clinton offices, the Highway Department, the Justice Court, and the court will be closed on Monday, June 19th for the Juneteenth holiday, and July 4th for the Independence Day holiday. The Clinton Community Library is also closed as well those days. And that is all I have, but we have Deputy Supervisor
I'll
comments.
just add a few things to what Michael said, and of course lead off by saying that we're very, very pleased to have him back, and hoping that at the next meeting, he's actually running the meeting,
Yeah.
which would be a welcome change. I'll add. Okay, anyway, just few quick things. We have a new phone system. I mentioned this last month, but as a reminder, it went into effect on the 26th of May, and from this point forward, the town has only one phone number, and that is 266-5853. You call that number, and you'll get a series of prompts, 1, 2, 3, and then you'll go through the phone tree. But the other numbers will not, as I understand it, are no longer working. The old numbers are no longer working.
So those direct numbers will not be direct.
Carol, I don't believe they are anymore.
So
I think they're gone.
Verizon has not, we haven't cut off Verizon yet. It's a process to work with them,
Mm-hmm.
so they are still live.
Okay.
But we're trying to sort of train people to use.
But that's because you're using two phones.
We're using
Yeah.
phones, that's right.
Because initially, we had talked to that when we got the phone system, that you could dial the direct number or you could dial the main number. So that's not going to be the case.
No longer, everything is.
So everybody should just use that main number and get off the other one.
Right,
Yep.
and then there's 6 choices, and then it's to the highway, to the supervisor, to the town clerk, and so on. And then off of that menu is for Carol Mackin, for Mary, for Mike, for Kathy. So it's
Yep.
really streamlined, I think.
No, I think it was the better system. I just wanted to clarify.
Yes. So the 2 phones are active right now because Verizon is literally dragging their feet on cutting them off. But once they do, which I'm pushing them, I hope it's this week, then we'll just go live 5853 and everyone's old phone will be removed from the desk.
Now, did we get sometimes when you cancel out a number, you can have a notice saying, call the main number?
Yes. So if they dial, for example, the old supervisor's number for 6 months.
6 months.
It will say
Right.
5853.
Okay.
But it won't bounce over.
So-
You'll have to
It will not
redial.
bounce
Okay.
over.
So let's be clear that Carol doesn't have a microphone. So, no, it's fine. So what she has basically said is the new number is the one you should use, and the old Verizon number is going away, but hasn't quite yet, because we have a little bit of a overlap.
Has the website been updated to show the new number? Okay, great.
And I think it would MailChimp as well.
Yes,
Yes, I saw that.
yep. Okay,
Which is, I just want to say to them, it's probably a good idea, if anyone hasn't got onto the MailChimp in town, is to get onto the MailChimp and, give us your email or help out, and then you'll get these notices and stuff as well.
The subscribe button is on the top right-hand side of the website, and you get a lot of information, but not so much that it's annoying.
okay, Carol asked me to make an announcement here that her office, the town clerk's office, has now become a permanent drop-off point for the food pantry, Clinton Food Pantry, and particularly important because the summer coming up, there's increased demand, and any donations over the summer months will be a great help. The planning board has scheduled a public workshop for July 11th. It will be in this room to discuss application from Cornerstone of Rhinebeck for a special use permit. It will be open to the public, but not for participation. Public is welcome to attend, observe, but not participate. That will happen down the road when and if we get to the point of actually having public hearings. Workshop will be at 7:30, again in this room on July 11th. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
I think it's July 10th.
July who?
10th.
July 11 is Shonida, July 10th. is
July
the
10th,
one.
okay.
Someone-
Well, for those of you who want to show up a day early, it's fine. I'll be here, but that'll be it. Okay, July 10th, I stand corrected. For those of you who are here can see, unfortunately, the folks in TV land cannot, there's models along the walls on both sides of the room. And in case you're wondering where these came from, they were put together by students at the Ridge School on Allen Road, which is a school that specializes in working with autistic students, high-functioning autistic students, founded by Clinton residents Michael and Linda Condor, who also live on Allen Road. And this exhibit is called The 7 Wonders of the Ancient World. Now, it will be here for about 10 days. So anybody who is not here and interested, I strongly recommend stop by and take a look. It's really quite an interesting thing and quite an impressive thing.
They put a lot of time into it. I know I was speaking to them
Oh, yeah,
originally.
absolutely.
A couple months ago, and gives these kids an outlet.
Right.
They're good kids too.
And
so.
there's a creative outlet here, and it's pretty amazing when you consider. Cemeteries, the cemetery committee, and for those of you who are on MailChimp that Dean was talking about a few minutes ago, and Catherine, you may have seen an announcement. The cemetery committee, we are trying to get a gravestone cleaning workshop going. The plan is to have it on July 8th, which is a Saturday. Start time to be determined, probably late morning. We will meet at Pleasant Plains Cemetery on Fiddler's Bridge Road. Anybody who's interested, please contact me, I guess, as a cemetery custodian ahead of time. We'll have to determine, depending on the response, whether this actually goes or not. But please send me an email, deputysupervisor@townofclinton.com. And we've already had several people express interest, so hopefully this will happen, and we will work out the details when we get closer to the date. The last thing I want to mention is 2 recent grants that have come to the town. Carol Mackin, our town clerk, secured a grant, approximately $4,000, from the John T. Sloper Community Fund, part of the Community Foundations of the Hudson Valley, to support a program on pediatric CPR and first aid for teens, parents, grandparents, and caregivers. The details will follow when the plans are made, but the program will be co-sponsored by Clinton Rec and the East Clinton Rescue Squad, and will be supervised by the captain of the ECRS, Susan DeHaan. And lastly, I'll mention that our highway department, Todd Martin, Melissa Karchmer, have secured a grant, $125,000 from the Dormitory Authority of New York State for the installation of 2-way radios in the highway department trucks. So the congratulations are, I think, due on both of those. Lastly, personal thanks, as I've done before, to town employees, as Michael said as well, for keeping things going in his absence and doing it very, very well. But one person I want to mention specifically is Arlene Campbell, because she stepped up to do the minutes for the last meeting, and I neglected to acknowledge her, which I should have done. So I'm doing it now. It's belated, but I hope that's okay. All right. Move on to reports. Catherine, you want to get us started?
Sure. As far as the library, check their website. The summer reading program starting the last week of June for kids and teens, and the summer concert series start in July. It's a shared, I don't know what the word I want is. The sponsorship, thank you, Carol, with the rec department, so they're doing that. And then as far as highway, I think it's been nice that Dan's been able to come up and talk directly about what he's up to, so I'm just going to ask Todd to be quick, but to come tell us what the highway's been up to, because he will do it more eloquently than I.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Just a couple of things. Phase 1 has been completed on Shelts Hill with the oil and stone being laid down. The project has to split, excuse me, the project has been sitting and has to cure for several weeks. Next week, we have a sweeper coming in to sweep up the loose stone and stuff on that road. Then in July, we'll be placing a fog seal. We'll be going down on top of that, and that'll complete that project. Also, prep work is being taken place on Lake Drive to get ready for next month's project. We're going to be blacktopping that road from Omega all the way out to Lake Drive. We've been doing culvert pipe replacement, tree trimming, and replacing the old catch basins and stuff along there. Tentative date for that is July 10th. If there's anything left over, we will be going into Silver Lake from the county road, just the hardtop piece to the dirt. Anything left over from that, we'll be going into Bartles Circle and doing what's called T&L, and we're just going to level that road up if we have any extra money and work. The county and the state are doing a traffic count on Hollow Road, Clinton Hollow Road, and Slate Quarry Road. We've been asked to have the speed machine placed all around town. Right now, it's in Heritage Development. We will be moving that around and stuff. Other people have been asking for it. It's just that it takes time to move that around to get people to start slowing down where we've been placing it. Through the shared service agreement, we've been using the bucket truck. For the month of June, we have that. Also, just to let everybody know, the town highway department roadside mower is down. It needs extensive work. It's up to Keel Equipment right now, and I got a rental right now, and we're going to try to use that until ours comes back, and we're looking at probably a month and a half, 2 months before that comes back for roadside mowing. So just bear with us with the highway department roadside mowing. If you guys can help us out, mow in front of your properties and stuff, it'll be greatly appreciated. And thank you, that's it.
Thanks, Todd.
Todd, just have curiosity. We have any plans for '24 in terms of paving, or is that not yet to be determined?
Not yet to be determined yet.
Okay,
Still working on that.
all right.
Thank you.
Well, Dan, why don't you step up and segue into the rec committee? Dan Harkenreiter is our rec director, for those few people who aren't aware of that.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? We did not have a meeting in May because it was Memorial Day, so we canceled that meeting. Our next meeting is going to be June 26th. It's always the last Monday of the month at 7 o'clock. We're going to have it at Fran Mark Park, the next meeting, so we can go down there and just have it at the park instead of here at the town hall. Just some of the maintenance. I've been talking about the kitchen is 100% completed now. We actually have a little first aid station. We've got the AED up. It's on the wall. We got a fire extinguisher. Got a first aid kit. We have another basket with a blood clot kit and a mask for choking. So that's kind of like a little, we call it the first aid corner or what have you, but that's in the kitchen now. In the back room, it's all cleaned out. We kind of reorganized some things. We bought a cabinet for the lifeguards, so they have their own cabinet now. You can actually lock it up if you want to. So it's a little more organized for the lifeguards, where you don't have to just keep using the counter and whatnot. Everything is very, very organized in there, thanks to the assistant rec director. Mowing is in full gear at both parks. And also, they do the cemeteries as well. It is starting to slow down because we don't have any rain, but I do think some's coming tomorrow, according to people at work. And but that allows us to do some more painting and some maintenance around the park that's needed. The kiosk at Franmark Park got a little TLC. We replaced the cork board, fixed the door, it was a little broke, cleaned the glass and kind of cleaned it up a little bit. Just a little TLC goes a long way. The basketball court, we put up a signboard that contains important phone numbers and also any rental information. Summer projects, summer camp registration is still open. It's on the website. The town also received a scholarship donation, so if there's a family that would like to send their children that need some financial assistance, just please reach out to me, because we do have some financial assistance for a child that wants to attend camp. Okay, camps the first 2 weeks of July and the first 2 weeks of August, and no camp July 4th. The second annual basketball clinic is taking place now. We actually had to cancel last Wednesday because of the smoke. We decided we better cancel because the other schools around us actually canceled after school activities, so we figured we better cancel as well. But that's ongoing. We will make up that class or clinic. This Saturday we'll be hiking at Tivoli's Bay. That starts at 9 a.m. You're going to meet at Tivoli Bay's parking lot on Kidd Lane, or you can meet here at the town hall at 8:30, and you can carpool if you want to. Swimming's open on the weekends, and we'll open 7 days a week starting June 23rd. Some new projects, we actually this is really new, started Monday. There's a walking club that just started, okay? It's basically going to have 3 trails. It's right out here at the town hall, and there's a variety of walking surfaces and distances. There's going to be a trail 1, it's right here on the pavement, and we've measured it out, the distance. There's trail 2, kind of goes around the softball field. And then trail 3, you utilize part of the nature trail, but it goes all around the, kind of around the nature trail, down by the town barns. It stays on the grass. We don't go in the parking lot or anything. And actually, a full lap is a half a mile for the trail 3. So we're going to have mile markers posted on each trail. I'm going to have arrows which one you want to take. But it's level, so it's pretty much walk at your own pace. It's not a race, but they're going to meet here Monday mornings at 9 o'clock, and they say put your right foot forward. I think that's what they were saying.
And it's better than hiking.
What's that?
It's better than hiking. Or at least it's easier than hiking.
It's easier than hiking. Okay, yeah, I don't know. People are into hiking, I don't know. I going up a steep hill on rock, I don't know. That's probably not for me, but I guess people like doing it, so.
For those of us who are more sedentary.
Yeah,
It's better.
So maybe the people that walk, maybe will graduate up to hiking, I don't know,
Maybe,
but we'll see.
maybe not.
Day passes for admittance into Franmark Park are available for purchase at the Gate Guard Shack. We actually had some purchases this past weekend. Adult kickball and volleyball is going to take place in July and August after the Rhinebeck volleyball is done. So we don't want to interfere with them. We're going to try to extend, after the Rhinebeck volleyball is done, we're going to extend volleyball, kickball at the town of Clinton, down at Franmark Park. We do have a basketball league that started. It's Saturday mornings. We have 6 teams. And we're also kind of going off that. We're working on, I'm seeing the interest for a 3 versus 3 tournament sometime over the summer. I've put that out there, and there seems a big interest in that. So that is in the works. Our first Music in the Parks for this season will be Friday, July 14th. Music begins at 6:30. Food trucks will be starting at 6. That's all I have for rec, but I do want to do a special shout out to Brandon, Adam, and Amanda this past weekend. Their quick thinking and sound judgment, following protocol during an emergency health issue at the park with one of the guests this past weekend. They did call me. I went down there, and it was, I've never seen anything like it, but they did what they were trained to do, and I just want to give a big shout out to them. East Clinton Fire Rescue did come, and everything worked out, but they did a tremendous job. I think they need to be congratulated for what they did. That's all I have.
Who's playing on the 14th at the park?
I think it's, I think Len Nelson, I think.
Len Nelson?
Either way, if you get on the MailChimp, you'll know.
You'll know.
Yes.
Little.
I want to point out that I have seen the kitchen. It's amazing, and I encourage all of the town board members to go down. It's incredible
Thank you.
what you've done.
Back to the 21st century from the 19th century.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
really,
much. We spent a few weekends
it's
down
really
there.
incredible.
So, okay.
All right.
Thanks.
All right,
Thank you.
so you haven't done anything else, that's it?
That's just for this week.
Oh, okay, all right, got it. Okay, Dean, anything from your end?
No new report.
No.
Chris?
No, I'm clear.
Just a very brief summary of the planning board, zoning board. It was a busy month. Planning board looked at a dozen applications, 3 variances, 6 short-term rentals, 1 subdivision, 1 conference center, 1 demolition permit, and 1 amended site plan. The ZBA met on 25th and looked at 2 applications, both for variances. 1 was approved, the second one was not. It was part of an application for a conference center, but I suspect there's a decent possibility the applicant will reconfigure the plan and come back and restart the process. If no one else has anything to add by way of reports, we'll go to old business. Start with a revision of section, well, not actually a revision, but a new section 250-51 of the zoning law, which we've been discussing off and on for several months. And I would like to ask the town board to approve a resolution, be it resolved that the board approves resolution number X of 2023, introducing the proposed law, local law number 4, entitled Article 5, Supplementary Regulations and Farm Operations, set a public hearing date for July 11th, 2023 at 6:25 PM in the Clinton Town Hall. Is there a second?
Second. You think only 5 minutes is long enough to have a public hearing on this?
Probably. We can make it longer.
I would say make
6:15?
6:15.
6:15,
I
okay.
think so, too.
6:15.
And have we sent out this to
We are.
the farms that are
We are.
in operation so that they can voice their opinions?
I don't know about that. I mean, we have sent it to, of course, county planning, ag and markets, and so on.
Yeah, I would just send it to
Send
the,
it to the farms?
to the
Existing.
farms that it's going to affect.
We can do that. We'll put a list together, Jeff, and send it out? Sure. Okay. Okay,
We have
All-
to vote.
vote, right. Approved?
All in favor?
All in favor? There we
Aye.
go.
Aye.
Okay. I get confused. Okay, Michael, this is yours.
Yes, I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approves resolving the May 9th motion regarding the maintenance of highway department personnel records, and be it further resolved that the town board approves highway personnel file policy dated June 13th, 2023, that all files related to personnel, payroll, healthcare, or legal activity will remain in the supervisor's office, with the highway superintendent having access to those files during normal business hours. Copies of all other files will reside in the supervisors and highway offices equally. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
On June 2nd, I met with Todd Martin, highway superintendent, Chris Giuliano, fellow councilman, and Judge Jim Brands, a town justice. We met and discussed personnel files. which were a topic at the last meeting, we came to an agreement of how to handle personnel files moving forward, detailed in this motion. I would like to thank each of them for meeting with me and taking the time to discuss this matter. Left unresolved is the payroll portion of our problem. We have come much closer on that issue, and should have a resolution at the next meeting. This includes an electronic clock, with initial payment from ARPA, and we will meet to discuss our plans as soon as this week. I think we've set the time. So that's the conversation.
So Mike, all right, so yeah, well, the payroll wasn't part of the last board meeting, but I just want to, so the way, I don't like the way one thing's worded in here. You know, the files that related to, it says personnel, and that was the stuff that, you know, the day-to-day operations that would go over to the highway superintendent on there. So copies of all will reside at the supervisor's office in highway. I still think those personnel copies, originals, still need to go back. We're talking about the healthcare or the legal activity, you know, any of that stuff on there,
So
which we discussed.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'll let
No,
you
go ahead, I'm listening.
I want to make sure I understand. So the issue you have is with personnel files.
Well, I think that's, Todd, could you come up to the mic on this here? So we
Yeah.
can- Just on what we had our conversation.
Well, I also believe that there was an issue where you guys needed to handle something and you didn't have the employee file. So what was the items that you needed to have access to? That you should have a
Personnel
copy.
folders with the
That
union.
has to do with payroll, though.
Well, this also says payroll in here too, so that's why I'm
Well, the
concerned.
payroll portion, we're keeping it separate. It does say payroll in here, but only in regards to social security numbers, things like that.
W-4s, which is what we
W-2s.
So I was looking for,
Like, you
we came to
should
the
have
understanding that I'm looking for personnel records, I'm not looking for W-2s, I'm not looking
Yeah.
for their health insurance information and stuff like
But if
that.
this doesn't say that, then I would be
Describe-
concerned.
Well-
Describe what you mean by personnel records, just so everybody's,
There was reprimands in that file, there's confidential stuff in there I cannot divulge. The town supervisor, the attorney, and myself, or previous highway superintendents, we cannot divulge some of that information, but that's still that was in the highway department, so in case something
Yeah.
comes up, you know, with the legality with one of the union members and stuff, that we had that there in case it was called upon.
So you would need legal activity.
I think we're saying the same thing. I think we're just using different words.
Mike, that's why I'm looking at right here, it says all files related to personnel, and that's, you're saying to keep it in the supervisor's
Well-
office. And then that right there is what we're taking here. So right now, then all other files, that's not what it's saying. You know, the payroll, I think there's a part of that payroll, I mean, obviously, you know, to the.
Yeah, he doesn't need the social security numbers,
No,
the
he doesn't
W-2s,
need-
but
exactly.
he does need all the other hourly parts of the payroll.
Exactly, and the healthcare, I think we all agreed that wasn't an issue for your office there.
Yeah.
Legal activity, I think it needs, if we're gonna rewrite this, we need to reword it on what, because personnel file right here, that means basically everything goes back over to supervisor's office on that term, and that's what I'm trying to avoid.
We already have a pile of stuff.
No, I
that is
I
going
understand that,
to
but
his office.
personnel is a general term, and that personnel is what is Todd's talking about.
We are just keeping things that have social security numbers,
Well, then-
anything that is of personal nature, which is personnel files.
I
Well-
don't think the argument is what you all agreed to when you sat down together.
Yeah.
Everyone is still on the same page with that. It's the wording, and the problem,
It's the wording.
while you understand it to be what.
Yeah.
You want it
I-
to be.
Going down the road, when we are not sitting here, it's not clear. So
I
it
want to
needs
know
be
then
rewritten.
what you guys would write, because then it wouldn't be clear to me. But what would you guys write?
I think all
Well,
the
Todd,
files
what-
should be. Go ahead.
What don't you need, or what do you need? And
Like I
that's where
said,
we need to
I
be
don't need
specific.
their health insurance information. I don't need their W-2s and their tax information. I'm looking for the files that we originally had, in the highway department, like I discussed,
But you
there
would
was
need legal
reprimands in there.
activities, right?
Yes, legal activities and stuff like that. There is stuff that's proceeding and everything else, like I said, I can't divulge. He knows with the union and stuff like that with the attorneys, but there's certain files that we need back, but I do not need their W-2s, I don't need health insurance, their retirement information. I just need their start, stop date, and everything else that was in that file when they go for the random drug testing, alcohol testing, any reprimands, any complaints from residents that come in saying one of the
that
highway
kind of
employees did
stuff
something or whatever.
even-
I have to keep those records.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm asking for. And
Yeah, so-
me and Michael are basically on the same page, and hopefully we can rectify this very shortly.
So then, if we have different wording, my question is this urgent right now? Is this something we can meet next week and
Yes, we
figure
can.
out the wording?
When we
Or
talked,
do
Michael,
we
you just
have to
came back
pass
and
a
stuff, and I didn't want to
resolution?
bother you. You came back, for a couple days, and I just wanted to leave you alone and let you do what you had to do and stuff,
hear-
and I'm going to give you some time.
I want to hear what Catherine's got to say.
Yeah, I do too. I want to hear what everyone.
If Todd is okay with sitting down with you and hammering out the wording and coming and making it very clear so that 10 years from now, somebody
Yeah.
can read it and know which piece of paper is to be in which file, and this whole situation is put to bed once and for all, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I want to
And I'm
know
fine
when
with
that
that.
meeting is,
So then why don't we just table this until next month, and you guys can iron out all those things?
because I will
Yeah.
say, if you don't work that out, then my default is everything's in his office.
And then the same thing with the
well,
payroll.
that's a
We should have
problem
everything
too,
worked
But
out
I
with the person.
think, I don't think we're going to go there
But
because
we
you've already
have-
worked it out.
We
So
have
say-
a meeting scheduled already.
Yes.
For payroll, next week and the 20th or something.
Wednesday, the 21st.
So, yeah, you were on those
Yes.
emails, so we'll just
hopefully by next
discuss
month this will be
payroll
rectified.
and personnel at the same meeting. And
Because if we
it
switch over to the
doesn't
electric
need
time
to be
clock,
urgent.
that'll solve the personnel and or not the personnel, the payroll issues.
All right.
And while, if you would think about, before you sit down, or when you sit down, it's probably going to be, maybe overkill, but a detailed list of disciplinary records,
Yeah.
return to work letters. Try and think of all the things that you need to, so that it's, like I said,
Yeah.
I want it to be so clear.
Precise and cut
That there
and
will
dry.
be no.
That's fine. I'm willing to work with
Yeah, I
Michael
want to
and
do it
whoever.
right, but I want to do it right once.
Once,
Yeah.
exactly.
So-
I'm with you.
And that's my problem, Mike, it's just, it's too vague, and I'm on board with Catherine's suggestion, and to get it to actually come down, both of you say what it needs to be, and then we'll do it. My only concern is, though, and I know there's certain, because I'm sorry, Mike, Todd, because we were supposed to have these meetings a long time ago, and then this all started beforehand and kind of getting there. But those basic files this week, you got to make sure you're on top of it too,
Yep,
Todd.
I will be.
At that too, because when I got in touch with you and you were saying, well, I couldn't be there or whatever, so that's in fairness to Mike.
Yep.
He was willing to and out there,
Yep.
so I want to give that fairness to Mike too.
Yeah, and
So let's-
this, I mean,
So let's just table this for this month.
yeah.
You
vague,
guys,
not vague. It was a work between me and the town attorney. Vague, not vague. I don't know.
Somebody make a motion.
do we need to make a motion to hold it open?
You need a motion.
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion to hold the, to table the resolution. Right, exactly. Thank you.
Do you have a second?
Second.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain.
Now, I
Thank
just
you.
want to ask this here on, I know you guys are going to sit down with the payroll issues and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You and I had a conversation today,
Yep.
and thinking the number that's in question might be more than what is originally
Oh, yeah.
thought. Is there, because that's dealing with a specific person, just so the rest of the town board, so we can understand where you're at with that? Can we
With
do an executive?
Tim Lawler, do you mean? Or the ARPA funds?
Lawler.
Lawler.
Lawler. It's about 700 where we're off. which was bigger than you had said.
Well,
But we
that's-
might not be off.
Well,
There's
We're
a
talking
dis-
$70, you're talking $700.
Right.
Well,
80 something.
so what I'm talking is straight time versus time and a half.
But,
So it could be either
right.
a certain amount or an extra 700.
We're going to sit down and Melissa, who got it all figured out, and then make sure that Kathy understands what Melissa's putting forward and that everybody's in agreement, and then we're going to finish this
Yeah.
deal out. So it's
Yeah.
just a question of everybody on the same page.
So we don't, does anyone think that we need just to, so we're all on board? Because I think there's two parts, and I think I said this to you too today. Part one is obviously, we're kind of, because there's been precedent, so we're kind of fixing that. And that problem, that bigger part of the problem is not going to happen until the next union contract. Part two is coming up with a way to handle these issues in the future with this, so it's not going back in there. And I don't know if that should be, if that's a general term in the meeting, or because we're dealing with one specific person on this
Right.
issue,
Well-
and if it should be more of an executive meeting, or if
May
it
I
should
make
be-
a recommendation that we have this meeting and work out this one issue
Okay,
and see how that goes?
okay,
And then we can discuss
a plan
a
for it.
plan at
Okay.
the July meeting. And it
This-
may be policy, and it may be just an agreement of a workflow, like I keep calling it workflow, because I don't know what else to call it. But let's, if it's okay with you, let's take it one step,
I'm fine with that.
and then we'll do the next step.
Because
And
because
this-
I think I think a
Yeah,
lot of
of
us are on the same
That's
page
fine.
with the future. I think the problem is we're tied into what it is now, and that's what's given us the problem, because it's not defined.
Right.
And I think that's what, we just
Yeah.
gotta figure out how to define it.
And
couple
this
years down the road.
meeting may take hours. It may be 2 meetings. We'll figure it out. Like, none of these problems are the first time a town has faced them. So we'll figure it out.
I'm fine,
All
I'm
right.
fine with that if you guys are fine with that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Everybody okay with this?
Yeah.
Okay. You may recall in the comments I mentioned that the Highway Department has secured a grant for $125,000. And we will resolve that the town board approves resolution number of 2023 authorizing, directing, and empowering the town supervisor to execute the grant disbursement agreement and take all other actions necessary to obtain the grant.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Go, yeah, absolutely, go ahead.
So the grant that the town board is approving tonight, what it is the highway department is on a low-band system. East Clinton and West Clinton, which divides the town, is on a high-band system. So basically, the highway department cannot talk to the fire department. So if there's a road closure, accident, house fire, God forbid, or grass fire or something, the highway department cannot talk to the fire districts. So what I did is I wrote a grant through Dee Dee Barrett. So what the highway department's doing now is we're switching over from low band to high band. So now we can talk to the fire departments. As an example, in the middle of the night when you got a tree down, why are you going to take a $500,000 fire truck with 6 guys standing out there for a tree down when they can call the highway department? I can go out there with barricades, block off the road with cones and stuff like that, and have a good night. We're saving the taxpayers money, and it's helping us all the way around. So that's what this grant's about. It's also reprogramming East Clinton and West Clinton's radios to match the highway departments, and it's all replacement of ours. The surplus equipment that we have now at the low band, we do have a potential buyer for that wants that radio system. So it's going to be a good trade for us with this grant. And then thank you to the board for approving this. Thank you.
And this replaces the issue we talked about a few years ago with the cell towers and...
Yes.
Right, this is, okay.
Yep.
Todd, you have to surplus that old radio. You can't. take
No,
it.
we already talked about
Yes,
that.
yeah, we
He knows
talked
that.
about that. We're going to surplus
You
that.
said you found somebody.
Yeah,
That's
no, we had
potential
a highway
buyer.
meeting, we already discussed that.
Yeah, so if we surplus it, we go out to the
It's gonna
the
go-
contract we have with the Pleasant
The bidding.
Valley place there,
So we'll
auction
it'll
house.
put it on
The
the
auction.
auction
Yes.
website, and then, so it'll be nice and clean.
And this has been going on, this grant's been in works for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I
It's a lot of
was,
work.
I was the liaison to the highway department at the time. This has been going on a while.
Well, now that the Crown Board has approved it, we can sign it,
Yeah.
and Shane will have to sign it.
Yeah.
And then we're done.
Great.
Oh, Bike New York is coming back, as they typically do every year, and so they request to use the town campus as a rest stop. And I will move that the town board approves Bike New York using the campus as a rest area on Sunday, June 25, 2023. A certificate of insurance is on file. Second? Is there a second? Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. We'll move on now to the next item on the agenda, which is to approve planning board consultants. Paul, do you want to say a few words in terms of what we're doing here so the folks out there will understand? Paul Thomas is the chair of our planning board. I hope I didn't spring that on you, sorry.
No, it's fine. Hi, everybody. So we're asking for the appointment of 2 consultants to the planning board. The first is HVEA. They're an engineering firm, and one of their specialties is traffic studies and transportation-related issues. CPL, our town engineer, recommended that we hire HVEA in connection with the Six Senses Conference Center application. This is on the site of what's variously been known as the Naylor Farm, the Old Stone Farm, the Duchess, and maybe other things. The new owners have proposed significant expansion of the facility, and some of the items that we need to review include the external, traffic impact on 9G, and I guess they look at intersections nearby because people are coming off the Taconic. We also need to look at the access to the facility. Right now, there's a single bridge over the creek, and there's a question about whether we need another access, and even if we don't need another access, whether that bridge is sufficient, whether it needs to be expanded, and also the internal traffic layout on the facility itself. It's going to have a lot of buildings, and we need to make sure that service vehicles, emergency vehicles can get to all the buildings. We need to figure out the parking, all that kind of thing. So HVEA would be a one-time appointment essentially for this project. We might use them in the future for something else, but right now it's a one-time appointment. The second firm, Nelson Pope Voorhees, NPV, we would like to retain as planning consultants. They do a lot of different things. If you looked at their the presentation that they sent to us, they're multidisciplinary, but our intent right now is to hire them as planning consultants, initially, again, in connection with the Six Senses application, but we would contemplate using them for other projects as well. And among other things, they work presently. They currently support the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board, and they've worked for the town board in Hyde Park on their comprehensive plan. Correct me if I miss any of the things they told us. They've worked for Pine Plains. They work for East Fishkill. There's another town in Dutchess County, and then they've worked for some towns in neighboring counties. So they do have experience working with CPL, which is we consider a plus. And they know some of their personnel. And on the Six Senses application, some of that property is in Hyde Park, and the access is in Hyde Park, and so Hyde Park will likely be an involved agency. So you get a little bit more, you get a benefit of sort of the efficiency of the consultants, CPL and NPV, if we hire them, working for both towns. We don't think there's any conflicts that are likely to arise. And I checked with NPV, they don't have a problem if we do hire them working for both towns, and CPL is already working for both towns. So you get that benefit. You may have seen Michael Dupree's, the chair of the Hyde Park Planning Board, wrote a recommendation, which I thought was pretty positive. Elliot and I interviewed them as well as the other candidates. I thought they were impressive. Their rates, I haven't done a comprehensive survey of rates of these firms, but the rates seem to be competitive and were lower actually than at least one of the other candidates. And we feel, just as a closing note, I think we love CPL. This has nothing to do with CPL. We just feel as a board that we should have an independent planning consultant. For years, that's how we operated with Neil Wilson. He resigned in 2017, and we just think it's good to have more resources rather than fewer resources, and it gets, it's a better product for the town, a better product for applicants. If we have issues or, legal action, we can say we had these two highly regarded firms working for us. So that's our reasoning. I hope you agree with it, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
And the cost on that is on the applicant.
Everything
So
on
just to
both.
Make sure so everyone understands it's not on the town that we're absorbing more costs.
I should have said that. You're absolutely right. There, in both cases, it's all applicant escrow.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, I usually hold my comments till after the motions are made, but on both, there is no budget impact. This is strictly paid for through escrow funds, and a unanimous decision was made by the planning board.
We've discussed it at various meetings, and we voted at the last meeting unanimously that we'd like these, both of these consultants.
I mean, typically when we hire like a specialist, like an RFC communicator or something like that, that's fine as a one-time thing, but on an ongoing budgetary type of thing, typically when we get consultants, we usually put it out for bid, don't we, Carol?
Not necessarily, I mean, particularly in this case, because there's a very specific need.
Well, no, this is going to be not the top one, the bottom one is an ongoing planner, so.
I do understand that Paul and Elliot did interview or reach out to 3 or 4, so they did sort of spread that out there.
We did it, I can't speak for Elliot's process. My process was we spoke to 4 candidates. After we spoke to 2 of them, they declined to pursue the process further. I don't know if that had anything to do with our...
Maybe with you.
I think it might have been you, but they did not want to be considered after we interviewed them. And so we were down to 2.
Escrow money, so it's more of an informal RFP.
Yeah, well, we're spending the town residents' money who have to go in front of the board, so I would say, and I would still feel more comfortable sending it out to bid and that price doesn't seem like it's far off from what CPL was charging either, so it's not like, I think it's like outrageous or
If
anything.
if it's on an as-needed basis, you're going to get a bid? Or are you going to get an?
Our engineer is on a needed basis
What
as
we've
well.
gone to it for a bid in the past were things that were in the budget. This is paid for by escrow funds, so it's not in the budget. And
Well, I understand the process, it's not a matter of, it's not costing the town board.
I know.
Yeah, Dean, you gotta
It's still
remember,
costing the town
we
residents.
are in desperate, dire need of a planner. It's been a while since we really have a good planner in the West Side. And we have this
Ongoing
all
basis,
complicated cases, so seriously.
Well, essentially, we did an RFP.
What she said.
Okay.
You kind of put it in a way that I think, conveyed. Anyway, and the only thing I would say is, in terms of the 2 firms in the running, the NPV's fees were about 25% lower, just for
And
that.
that being said,
And we did speak to 4. It's not, we didn't just.
We spoke to 4.
We did speak
and
to
that
Yeah, but the
being,
rest of the town board hasn't seen any of this.
and that being said, Dean, with all, believe me, all due respect, then we need to go to bid for CPL as well.
We have,
It's been-
in the past, when you first got on the town board.
It's been 5 years since I got on the town board, and it was a
Right.
3-year contract.
Right.
So we're 2 years out of the contract with them. We
not saying-
haven't gone to bid in a long
Well,
time.
we're taking on a new client, and we've never used them before.
I take Paul's sentiment seriously when he says it helps us to have different people involved.
I'm not disagreeing with any of it. All I'm saying is that typically when we take on an ongoing consultant, we put it out to bid.
Now, is this, do they want, are they looking for a contract with us for this rates? Are these rates for a predetermined amount of time? When does it start, their rates? I mean, if we're saying, because right now it says, between a rate from 105 to 150.
Well, it depends on if it's the primary person or the consultant. or
Yeah, that's
the,
correct, but-
the
We had no
analyst.
discussion about a contract.
So the rates were listed as 2023, 2024. But that's a very good question as to how we retain these firms.
So
Do we
the
have an agreement? Go
motions-
ahead.
should say June 6, 2023, effective until December 31st, 2024. So we have that correct.
My
But
recollection.
you want to go
is
from
that-
June, of
December
this year
31st.
Yeah.
To December 31st of this year.
23.
23, not 24.
Well, he said 24.
Yes,
That's what their rate sheet said.
As of January
Yeah.
2024, they may change. Is that?
It-
am I
If you look at
interpreting
their rate sheet, it just says calendar years 2023 to 2024, so it's a very good question as to when does it go all the way through the end of the year?
To be safe, though, we could do 12/31/2023. We can always
Yeah. And
redo it. It's,
Well, except then we're dealing with the timing issue because there are these 3 applications that Paul has mentioned. And if something goes sideways halfway through one of them, what do we do?
But we have 6 months to fix it.
Well, 6 months from now, but not 6 months. No, I mean, if something goes sideways 5 months from now, for argument's sake, and
yeah.
we're halfway through an application.
But between
what
then
happens?
and now, you can ask them.
Well, let me ask
Yeah, we
you,
can do that, sure.
Dean, would you feel, I mean, because we got these other things going on and going to the 6 months and as a trial era with them, now till December 31st, and then obviously if it works or we want to rebid it, I understand the need. There's a need because we're kind of, we're sitting in limbo on certain things, on air, and then, that kind of gets it in, and then we can always rebid it. I think we should also have a policy, it'll be probably after, when I'm not here no more, but, a policy on how, because obviously there are some contracts that, we've been riding without a contract,
Yeah.
bid and stuff.
Well,
It's-
we've kept them going because they haven't raised their rates.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's,
No,
if we saw a rate increase, then we would definitely have an issue with.
No, but in theory, still, it's always a good idea to have some sort of policy instead of
Oh,
running
yeah.
without a contract. So if, God forbid, they said midterm, they raise the rates.
I mean, our policy has been, is as long as we're happy with the service, we've kept it going.
Sure.
And they haven't raised their rates,
Yeah.
because we've had some bad
Yeah.
consultants in the
But
past.
what if they, hypothetically, could they change their rates midstream, honest, because we don't have a contract?
We don't have a contract, yeah.
You
Yeah.
would have a contract for their rates. You wouldn't hire.
Year by year, year by year.
All right, so we have
Yeah.
something here saying for that year from
Yeah.
them, okay, all right.
And
That's
we
excellent.
approve it at the January
Well,
3rd or whatever, the
So that's
first
why I'm saying that January
organizational
1st, yeah, the
meeting.
reorganizational meeting to do this for 6 months.
Yeah.
So-
To get it. and
So
then-
we're all, with that amendment from Michael, we are approving these 2 firms for the rest of this calendar year, and as of January 1, we would retain a contractor, we would get the bids however you want.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
Or just renew on that. They
or
do the
just
right job.
renew, yeah.
Based on,
So the only thing I would say is, maybe Elliot was alluding to this, would there be a gap if they expire on the 31st, then you
Well,
have
we
a
would have to
hard...
put it up to bid before
Yeah, you'd have to do
it
it before.
expires,
Okay,
so that,
you just have to stay on top of it. is-
okay.
Can I ask a question about the HBEA? You're hiring HBEA for a
Specific.
purpose.
The-
So that can be open-ended, that's ad hoc?
Yeah.
When that
The-
project is over?
They will no longer be in the
Don't
picture.
put an end cap on that one.
Yeah.
So just the other.
And it should be by the end of they should be finished by the end of the year.
Yeah. Very good.
All right.
Did we get
What
it?
do we-
So
Should I
do we
sit
have
down,
a
or what?
second?
Did you read the motions?
none of the motion's
You have to
been
read
read.
the
You have
motions.
to read the motion.
Oh, geez.
Should I read the motions?
Yeah, you do it.
Okay.
I thought you did.
Motion by Supervisor Witten. Town Board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved, Town Board appoints HVEA Engineering as a consultant for the Planning Board for the purpose of preparing a traffic study and providing related services in connection with the application of 6 senses for a special use permit and site plan. Approval to be paid by applicant's escrow at an hourly rate to be determined, effective June 6, 2023. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion?
I don't like the TBA.
That's what I was gonna say, the TBD, or, well, it's supposed to be TBA, but.
Yeah, TBD,
Be
whatever.
determined.
TBD, oh, yeah, all right.
That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, that I don't like, because then that's not, if do we have a rate that they gave us? I mean, because that could be an open end, and then all of a sudden our applicants, their escrow could be eaten alive on that.
Was it in the materials that you sent around,
No.
their rate?
I
No?
don't think so.
I mean, I would never do any of my
No, that was-
contracts without having a number.
Catherine, that was the planner that you were referring to.
HVA.
Okay.
Not for-
HVEA is just the one-time traffic study.
I know, but
Yeah.
what is it getting approved for? How much? How
They,
much?
unfortunately, before I left to come here, they had not provided the rates, but
Then
that.
we can't approve it. Because we're gonna do an open end, then, for the, even though it's escrow or whatever we're doing it, how, TBA, we can approve it on the motion that it's within range, I guess.
Jeff, what's your sense of what do you think? I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, given
Can we establish a maximum number
Can you contingent on a
or something?
maximum?
Yeah,
Can you, if you give me yeah, that'd be great.
Not to exceed.
yeah, or not to exceed. What do you think?
This affects only one applicant, it doesn't affect anything beyond one applicant, so
It's-
future applicants are unaffected?
But it's still, even though it affects only one applicant, that applicant has to know up front, what that's gonna cost them.
Can we set a ceiling that it's not going to exceed? And then we can find out what,
I just don't understand why we even need to prove this at all, because like when we had the cell tower and they were doing a RF consultant, we didn't, as a town board, didn't approve it. You guys hired a consultant, and then,
Right. That's been an ongoing debate, yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
To your point, Dean, both the town of Clinton Code and the New York State town law allows for a planning board to hire whatever professionals they require.
yeah, we just got to agree to pay them.
Right.
Well, there it is.
You can't pass a budget that's set, but if it's not a budgetary item, that doesn't fall.
Exactly.
But I think we still gotta be responsible to our residents or applicants on what that is, and I don't think that should be an open-ended question, and they come in there and when we give them a bill or, for their escrow and say, this is what it's charging, and all of a sudden, we're thinking $105 an hour, or $150 an hour, and it's $300 an hour, and they got X amount in escrow, you can't charge someone something and not have a number. It's not business.
Can we set an upper limit? Can we set the other upper limit? Because we can't wait we'd rather not wait another month.
Two ways, you can have a cost not to exceed and come up with a number, or at a cost that's acceptable to the town supervisor, and you all decide what that number is.
But I thought Jeff just said that we don't have to do this at all. That the planning board has the authority to hire this consultant.
But I don't think the
So-
Precedent, Catherine, that they don't, the town board takes that responsibility. That's the town's precedent, so
Okay.
you can change that, but
No, that's fine. That's,
Yeah.
history is
So,
important.
what do we want to say, 150?
An hourly rate not
I would go a
to
little
exceed.
higher.
An hourly rate of
200, 250.
$250 an hour.
I'm just looking at the planner, the part 150, so that's,
No,
Yeah, they don't care.
I think my only concern with this, having this,
how much do you want to pay?
I think they want,
You're not gonna pay more.
I think they want the work to commence and are worried more about that than the
I
rate.
think they just wanna
Things
get
on
going.
the, yeah.
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 my only concern is I never, when we're approving something, at least have a range, and they didn't give us a range on this,
So-
is my only concern.
So my concern
In
is,
any contract.
So
let's stop for a moment.
phone and see
I'd try,
any of their data from the planning is at what the cost for this HBE is. Because they work for Hyde Park. This,
HVEA works.
no, we're talking
Yeah,
about the other one.
Oh, no, we have their rates.
let's stop for a moment.
MPV we have. Yeah, we don't have the other one. The one-time only one we
You
don't have.
said, Paul, that they work in Hyde Park, right?
No, HVEA is going to be working for Hyde Park in connection with Six Senses, but
Okay,
Time out.
So-
Time out.
Can,
Stop. You were right.
Arlene,
We do
stop.
not have to pass this. We don't have to do anything. The planning board can do it on their own. We are rescinding this motion, and we're good.
but what about what Carol said, we have past precedent that the town board does. I mean, I just don't think that should be ignored, despite the fact that I said, and, Jeff.
Can I
knows
just
this
say
stuff.
something? They're here, and they could say that they're willing
We heard that.
to.
Arlene?
We're not.
It's okay.
We-
Carol, the question, when I was on the planning board and we looked at cell towers,
Yeah.
I remember we hired consultants. Did the town board sign off on those? I don't remember.
I don't-
Under Ray Overly's leadership, that Ray Overly consistently brought those issues to the town board.
Okay. So then we
I
probably
mean,
did.
that may be a Ray Overly.
Now, wait, so if your escrow account is gonna be covering it, I mean, I'm fine with at that point, this is a one-time specifically for their issue, then I'm fine with you give, what you feel is a fair amount at that point, because you're gonna be ultimately paying for it on that, and it's not the town coming out of our budget. I just wanna protect you guys at the end of the day. I don't want someone coming in all of a sudden, as much as you wanna get everything moving, and we wanna get that, moving with you guys too. It's just that you never know, in business you learn contracts and stuff. It could be one way or the other, so, I mean, Dean, are you fine with that?
So would you feel comfortable with 250 as the max? I mean,
Or what do you?
Yeah, we have our own traffic study person, so it's sort of the max out. I think they're like between 200 and 250 an hour.
all right, so let's put in 250. We'll get this to an end here for you.
Okay.
250.
Close it out.
That's the only reason I want to make sure you guys are protected.
You
So it
have
doesn't
the
affect the town
amended,
in a way, but
So
Max
the
hourly
amended
rate, not to
says
exceed.
paid by the applicant's escrow at an hourly rate of not to exceed $250 an hour, effective June 6, 2023.
Right.
Is there a second for that?
Is there a second?
Discussion? All in favor?
All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
let's go home.
passed.
We have more?
Okay, there's another, should I read that one?
Yes.
Okay. Second resolution, Supervisor Witten. Town Board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved, Town Board appoint Nelson Pope Voorhees as planning consultant, replacing former planning consultant Neil Wilson, to provide an enhanced level of support and guidance to the planning board when necessary, including but not limited to application reviews, meeting notes, attendance at meetings, drafting board resolutions, and seeker findings, paid by applicant's escrow at an hourly rate from $105 for a planning analyst to $150 for a partner, effective June 6, 2023.
To December 31st.
To December 31st.
2023.
All, second.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Well, I thought that CPL replaced Neil Wilson because they had a consultant on board, so the language is not necessarily accurate.
What would you suggest?
Doesn't need to, I don't think we need to put in replacing anybody.
You're out of contract with CPL.
That's fine
So-
too, but I'm just saying that it's not replacing
fine.
Neil Wilson. I think you just take that whole thing out.
Fine, okay, so
Take out
Just
that.
take out replacing.
Yeah.
it'll say as planning consultant to provide.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fine. We need an amended resolution for that? Okay. Any further discussion?
And I still think we should go out to bid, but that's, you guys can vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, I'm fine with
Nay.
that.
Opposed?
For 6 months.
Abstain?
Nay.
Okay. 4 aye, 1 nay, motion passes. Now we can go home.
I wish. Dean.
Okay, Dean, it's your show.
I'm here for entertainment value.
There you go.
All right, so we do our stipulations of people that disagree with their values on their properties, in which they hire an attorney and sue the town. It's the legal process. So rather than me kind of paraphrasing what took place here, I want to read to you what the attorney actually wrote, because it explains everything pretty well. So the reference tax tertiary case, along with the proposed consent judgment, was to two subject parcels in which a 480A forestry exemption, so that's an exemption that you get for having a forestry management plan. The proposed settlement provides that one parcel, which is the parcel number 56078, receives no reduction of assessed value. The other parcel, parcel number 572046, will receive a very modest reduction in taxable assessment value of only $8,900 based on the site conditions and the conservation easement. So that's probably one of the least ones that we've ever had. So with that, I make a motion that the town board approves following resolution. Be it resolved, the town board approves resolution number of 2023, that the town board hereby authorizes the town attorney of Clinton, Shane J. Egan Esquire, to enter into settlement agreement with the attorney for petitioner Kyle Barnett Esquire, terms of which are set forth in the attached consent judgment, and hereby authorizes Shane J. Egan Esquire to sign said consent judgment on behalf of the town. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Resignations and appointments. Should I carry on?
Yeah.
Okay. Town board accepts the resignation, or I move that the town board accepts the resignation of Amelia Pacone as constable effective January 31st, 2023. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. And I will also make a motion that the town board approves a resolution number of 2023 authorizing the appointment of additional summer recreation employees. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Dean, it's back to you.
Make a motion, be it resolved, the town board approves the June 13th general fund warrant vouchers number 270 through 341 totaling $127,315.54, and the June 13th highway fund warrant vouchers number 147 through 175 totaling $78,913.08, and the June 13th capital fund warrant voucher number 8 totaling $5,152. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Motion to move funds. Town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved, town board approves resolution number of 2023. A motion to move funds. Is there a second?
Second.
And discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. You want to do your supervisor's report?
Yeah,
Go
sure.
ahead, why
I
don't you?
make a motion that the town board approves the final supervisors' reports for January, February, and March 2023.
Second.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Is there a second? Any, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I move that we approve the supervisors' reports for April and May 2023. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
I have a couple things.
Yeah.
So the first is I wanted to float the idea of getting a time clock specifically for highway to help sort payroll a bit, but possibly also for all town employees, and maybe using ARPA funds. So I just wanted to lay that out there. I'm going to do some research on time clocks and what we're looking at as far as cost. In discussion at our highway liaison meeting, it did occur to me that I am currently working, albeit very slowly, on the emergency plans, which include evacuation plans.
Yeah.
And the time clock would be a big deal because we would know who was on campus.
So I agree with you, Catherine, on that. This is something I think Todd, and again, when I was the liaison, I don't remember the amount, it wasn't much at that point, and it was also able to link it up, and we had this meeting when Todd, Mike, myself, and Jim sat that one morning about that, it'd give this all access, so there'd be like checks and balances with that.
Yeah.
And I think back in the day, what were you, I mean, obviously, there was a few, $2,500.
Yeah.
And I agree with the whole idea of the townwide too, would be, it'll streamline things a lot easier.
I think research by different people is good. Kathy has researched it, but you researching it is good.
Okay.
Todd researching it is good. Having the
Get together.
different ideas.
Okay. So that was the easy one. The next thing that I wanted to ask or bring up was Todd and Melissa are requesting some additional hours for Melissa because the iWork system, which everybody loves so far, there's a lot of background input that needs to be done. She needs to go back and put in old data as well as get it up to snuff for the current data. So my thought, and I'm certainly open to suggestion, but my thought is that we approve 30 additional hours to be worked between June 26th and August 31st. So it's basically putting her up to a 35-hour work week for about 10 weeks. Todd says he has the money in his budget.
Well, I think we can use ARPA funds for that as well, because it's a one-time thing, and it's within
And it's
the
related
scope
to,
of...
it's related to the software and the
Right.
stuff that we're doing. And so it
And
can't
that's
be
what originally I had said when we talked about buying the software, was that there would be
some
input time.
training on
But
that.
that's going to mean that we're going to we're going to have to not do one of the projects.
You want to finish what you were in the middle of?
No, that
Oh, I
was,
thought you
that
were.
was it.
I'm sorry.
I assumed it was the discussion was that it was going to come out of Todd's budget, but ARPA's funds is a good idea, for sure, which just means that, well, we have earmarked for tablets for the board, which I was the one, I think, that brought it up, and I do think they're a good idea. You wouldn't even use all of that to pay this amount.
Yeah, but
What are we
we
talking-
are buying a computer.
So, I mean, I do think, and like I said, again, this is gonna be something that's gonna benefit the future, whoever's still on the board at that point. I agree. I think the tablets, I mean, one, just on the paper saving, the efficiency of stuff here would be better for future.
Right. So in the interest of
How much money are we talking-
simplicity, about
is the money?
$1,700 or $1,700, no, that's the wages, not, I'm not talking about benefits or anything like that. I didn't do the math.
Okay.
So in the interest of simplicity, though, my suggestion is to make a motion that for those hours coming out of Todd's budget, because he has the money, and then, while I agree that the ARPA funds would be a good use of ARPA funds and it would be allowed, I think it's going to lead to a longer, more complicated discussion, and they want to get it started.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, you can't transfer it to the D to the A.
can't
You can go from A to D, but you can't go the other way.
So whatever money Todd will need to transfer has to come from the A code,
Yeah.
not the D code.
Okay.
Can you make that work, Todd, on the transfer?
What transfer?
I don't know. You
We
go from
can't
the A
go
to the D.
from the D to the A.
No, I know, but you
They
go
just
from the A
asked-
to
He
D.
has plenty of money in D code, but we,
He says he can make it
But
work
you
from
have,
there.
but
You
you
don't
have the
think
funds in
Well-
A code? So
you have what?
he's saying that he has the,
I'm.
so there is enough money in your A
is
code, or
this-
there is not?
Is this, this is hard. Is this something that doesn't need to be an emergency? I'm trying to find it, where you are. 50.
I suppose it could be done in July. I just, they
Yeah.
want to get started, or they want to
I
get working on it.
understand. I want to make sure I'm,
But I thought your part of the iWorks thing was already up and running with, and
It is, but this,
going.
what they have to track,
The part of the thing is you have to input things like garage,
Yeah.
driveway permits and,
Yeah.
and also the signage where stop signs are, how far from the corners and
county doesn't
drain
have
pipes
that.
and,
Only the town has that information,
Yes.
not the county.
So what the
It's not
iWorks
I
input
program
get, I
does,
get the problem.
so what the iWorks program does is, what it does is, every single road in the town of Clinton, I have the state and the county's information on that, but I'm trying to update the town, so what it is, it's gonna give us information on every single culvert pipe, on every single road, every single sign, stop sign, yield sign, chevron, when we did work onto it, who worked on that road, the date, time, and everything, so it's accountability and stuff like that. That's what this iWorks program is about. And as far as the A code, we could take it out ARPA's, there's money in A code somewheres.
Well, ARPA is the best. I'm just asking if
the ARPA money's
this
accounted
doesn't need to be sprung
Well, we're
on
trying
me
to,
now.
the
if
date
it
we were
can
trying to
happen in
implement this
July.
was, June 13th.
Because I'm
or this week-
asking to make
this week
a
we're trying to get our
decision
end up and
now.
running.
So can you, I realize you want to do this now, but if we work out where the money is going to come from and we vote on it at the July meeting, is that amenable? Is that the right word? I know.
Can we make a preliminary,
Well, we spent this money to do this program, and we set a date for this to be operational, and I'd hate to fall on our face.
It is
We said
operational.
June that we were gonna have this up and running, and we've been busting our chops trying to get this program up and running, for the town, board of town supervisor, the residents and the
Right,
taxpayers.
but to be fair and clear, it's operational. We're talking about inputting data that needs to be there, but it's operational without it. It's not ideal, and we all agree that it needs to be done, but it is operational at the moment. So I just don't want to
We don't need to rush it, is your
overstate
point.
it. Yeah.
No, but there are certain stepping stones and process that we need to go with, but if you guys wanna do July, that's fine. I just don't wanna keep pushing everything off. We keep pushing everything off and pushing it off,
I completely understand the position you're in.
Michael just needs to know where the money's coming from.
Yeah, I personally, I'm one vote. And I don't know where the money's coming from yet. I suppose I could look at everything, but I don't know where the money's coming from. I'm not saying no, by any means.
All right, so
but
then-
I have to find it.
Yeah.
Let's put it on the agenda for the July meeting.
Let me ask you a simple way, and this kind of maybe gets the ball rolling on it, and gives you time,
Yeah.
and vice versa, is that we approve pending there's an avenue,
Well, yeah.
pending there's an avenue of something that we can take it.
Wait, how about this? It's going to be multiple.
We
it'll
could take
mean
it from the
multiple-
A code out of part-time employees for the highway, seasonal.
That's all
Wangman.
D code.
How,
Is it all D?
Yeah. The only one that say is yours and
Right.
yours.
okay.
And then
So-
there's some A code for, no, like your travel and conventions and your office supplies. It's not a lot.
Yeah, we can't
So
take
we'll
that
have to
out.
wait. But
Yeah.
let's put on the agenda for July, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
so that's that. Unfortunately, I'm not done yet.
Oh, Jesus.
The other thing that came up is the rec department gas. And
Yeah, this
because
just
it's
came
been
up.
separated now, right? It used to be, correct me if I'm wrong, but it used to be that Todd ran that crew that maintained the parks, and it was decided, and it's a perfectly reasonable decision, to separate it out. But now the question, because of that, my understanding is there's a question about whose budget is the gas for maintaining the parks and the cemeteries coming out of. So I would like to just talk about that and see if we can't work that out.
Yeah.
Everybody
I'm
else
just
has, Dan,
gonna
why
move,
not?
just so you're aware, I'm just gonna move money. So if it's
Okay.
the
Just-
rec department,
just
then
so you
I
know.
move money from highway to rec, and if it's the highway department, then I move money from rec
Just for the entire.
to the highway.
For 20 years, I've been doing the rec. Not once have we gotten a fuel bill from highway.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
just got one.
Highway, for 2 years, had their maintenance guys do the rec parks,
Yeah.
okay? And then they didn't send me a bill. Mm-hmm. So now I got the maintenance guys back and I got a bill, so it's like, doesn't make sense. Plus, the money's already in the budget for fuel for rec. It's already there. It's in the highway's budget for the seasonal maintenance.
Yeah.
But for like saying for,
So is that?
how is it different this year than it was last year? It's the same people. It's just that someone else leads them.
And well, I have.
So
in
there's-
front of me,
there's
the
no
dollar amount
difference.
For the maintenance.
What's that?
We haven't exceeded the dollar amount for the maintenance yet, correct?
No. But there's no, there's.
You understand the question?
No, the question, the thing is, why is a fuel bill coming now just because I'm heading them up? They didn't give me a fuel bill last year when they were running them.
Right, I have no argument, but what I'm asking
Yes.
is, the line item for the rec departments, the line item for the maintenance of the parks
Yep.
has the amount for the fuel.
It does not.
I don't have-
It does
See
not
that.
include, there is no fuel budget.
We do not have a fuel budget for rec.
The-
Never have had one.
And there will be now, and it'll come out of the highway. and just go to
Next year, if we
It
know
can
what
do
we
it
have.
now in the motion to move funds at July's meeting
Mike, you can't move money
I-
from highway.
from D-Day. I understand.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Mine was confused why is there a bill this year and there never was for
And
20 years?
My goal is just to get it straight so that everybody's happy and everybody works as a team, because
And
we
it's
need
not just rec, it's,
to work
it's,
as a team.
it's
And
the cemetery as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, Dean is absolutely correct. It's also the cemetery.
As well as the maintenance of all those, whether it be the mowers or the truck
Yeah.
or anything else. I mean, where does it should go? I mean, it's where.
Yeah, I just, I didn't get a bill last year or the year before, or the year before that, but I got one this year.
I understand.
That's all.
They don't want to be nice anymore.
No.
It's not being nice. It's, my budget for the highway department went up
You're
less than
okay.
2%. So when I just paid $1,800 out of the highway budget for a mower that the highway department doesn't use, it goes to the rec and cemetery. Just an example, the fuel bill this month for the rec was $400 some odd dollars. So the highway department's gonna pay that when, I don't have that money. My budget's at bare bones. I mean, I duct tape and bubble gum trucks and equipment and roads right now.
Since I can't move from D to A, can we just deal with the gas this year, and then I'll deal with it in the budget next year, and it'll be a rec problem.
So it will be line item.
It'll
and
be a
very
line
clear.
item in the rec budget next year, but we deal with it in the D code this year, since I can't move from D to A.
Okay.
All right.
All right, I have one more.
All right.
This was not mine. I was asked, this was a discussion via email today, and we were asked to bring it up, and that is about Community Day and the charging town committees for a table. Now,
Oh, yeah.
I will say that
So you're, first of all, I want you to say it, but you're bringing up all the things that ended up in email today before the meeting. So,
I'm not responsible for the Community Day one. The rest of them I own, but not the Community Day one.
geez, okay, keep going.
In discussion at Community Day, it's a slippery slope because there are definitely town committees, and then there's town organizations, and so it's sort of like when you have a wedding, and where do you stop the guest list?
Yeah.
And I personally don't have a very strong opinion, but we wanted to get it sorted so that it was clear, was the discussion via email, only a few hours ago.
Yeah, yeah.
There are only, 4 town committees who are affected by this? That's my guess.
CAC is one of them.
CAC,
CAC.
Scenic Roads, we're gonna have a table.
Yeah.
Have you paid yet? Well,
Well,
That's a good question.
so the question being, and I haven't really formed my thoughts on this because I saw the email
It's one
about an
town
hour
committee
before
paying the other town.
meeting.
Well, exactly,
Um,
exactly.
is the question being, is the town just moving money
Exactly.
from one budget line to the other, and whether we want to do that?
right, and I have to, excuse me for not explaining why this has come up. So the CAC put in for a reimbursement
Right.
for the cost of the table at Community Day last year.
Yeah.
So that's why the discussion came up, and that just happened today. So that's why we're talking about it, because it is kind of like,
Yeah.
Right.
We're paying
But
ourselves.
If
It
we're only
doesn't-
talking about $100, what's the point?
well, but who are the other, you said CAC, Scenic Roads, who else?
Well, let's say, for example, the cemetery, the rec committee,
on.
the cemeteries.
Rec and this,
I mean-
well,
The Historical Society also balked last year because
But that-
Community Day was on
Right.
their property.
But
and
Yeah.
they're being
Right.
charged, and so
But that wasn't because they were a town.
it's not a town,
And-
that
and-
was
Right.
another.
But like, what about scenic roads?
Scenic Roads is
Scenic Road-
town.
Yeah, Scenic Roads is town.
Oh, obviously, you did say scenic
Yeah,
roads. I apologize.
Cemetery is town, Rec Committee is town.
Right.
Who else are we talking about?
I don't know. Go ahead.
So,
And
Catherine,
CAC is 100.
last year, anybody that had a table, regardless of who they were charged. It's hard to discriminate against a town committee or a church or any sort of civic.
Right, so then you're talking Lions Club, the Clinton Alliance Church.
And so
that's
it
what
just
gets-
made it easy to charge anyone, which is why we set up the $25 charge. It was very nominal. In addition to that, bookkeeping-wise, it's nice to have a line item in the budget that is solely for Clinton Community Day. Because when Clinton Community Day needs to purchase something, whether it's extra insurance or prizes to give out or whatever it is, that's where that money comes from, is all those little $25 tables.
And that's what we're in question, is the $25.
For like the 4 or 5, only for town like Shrek, CAC.
yeah,
But
no,
I
no.
think bookkeeping-wise, that's how you would keep it clean. That anybody that has a table, you can trace back the record that that table was paid. It's a very clean bookkeeping system.
Even though we're just paying ourselves. It's
Yeah,
more
we're
of a-
paying ourselves.
It's a
So basically,
It's a tracking.
at budget time, we have to give all of these groups an extra $25 because they're going to give it back to us.
Well, it's gonna go to the line item, it's gonna go to the line item for Clinton Community Day. So when Clinton Community Day needs to purchase something, that's the pot that they dig into.
So, I hate to give this answer, but I'm the budget officer, and I'm gonna decide within the next day or so how this works. Because we don't have to cash the CAC check, or the Shrek check, or the Rec check. We just don't have to cash it.
I think it's already been cashed because she
No,
made it.
the CAC
wrote a
is still
personal check.
on the desk of Kathy. It has not been cashed.
No, she's looking for last year's,
Oh, last year's, they were
right?
done.
Am I correct, Karen?
They were done.
The one she gave is for September.
Oh, it is for
But
this coming
this
community.
coming
Okay,
year,
I stand corrected. So
it is still sitting on her desk. And I think,
it's
so
your
far,
purview.
town committees, I think, should not pay.
Should not. pay.
Should not.
Honestly, I'm kind of with you on that one. I don't, I mean, I get the bookkeeping concept, but I mean, yeah, I don't,
But
I
it
mean,
doesn't sound like it's something that we need to decide or make a motion or vote on, because
No.
it's your purview.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
so then we can just leave it.
Absolutely.
Are we talking about 3 or 4 committees? It's
Yeah, we're
$100.
talking $100.
Right.
And if you need $100, I'd put it in your budget.
But we'll just pass the hat.
Like, so the town orgs don't need to.
All right, I'm done.
All
Upsetting
right,
the apple cart.
so you can go to public discussion.
Discussion, if there's
Well,
anybody.
I have one more
Oh,
thing.
go ahead. All right, Dean, go ahead.
So how are you doing from our last conversation last month with the issue with Salt Point, Clinton Corners Hamlet there, as far as reducing the speed? Because Todd and I, and Catherine, we all spoke today, and Mylan did something that I think may be the solution.
I'm
So-
happy to hear it, because I sort of.
So
ran
Todd, why don't you come up and tell them what Mylan does, because it does affect everybody driving down the road.
Let me answer your question before Todd goes. I'm in touch with folks at DOT, or DPW, I should say. And basically, what I was hoping to do was, rather than going through the usual process, is maybe being able to work with somebody to help move the application. That doesn't seem to be happening. So I think we're basically going through the same steps we've gone through unsuccessfully several times before. So, if there's an option, let's talk about it.
It's
I'd be happy to
interesting.
hear
Thank
it.
you for bringing it up.
Alternative, I should say.
Milan Hollow Road, where the town of Clinton meets the town of Milan. If you're going from the town of Clinton to the town of Milan, it says new speed limit, town of Milan, 40 miles an hour. If you go to the next driveway and turn around, it says new speed limit, town of Clinton, 55 miles an hour. 55 miles an hour, on Milan Hollow Road, coming back to the town line. So the Milan Town Board made a resolution to lower the speed limit on their town roads to whatever it was, 40, 30, whatever it was, and they passed that, and they sent that to the county and to the state, and that's where the county on Milan Hollow Road reduced it to 40 miles an hour, but the reverse side, we didn't do anything, and ours is 55 miles an hour.
So even though that's a county road, they list.
And we've had several complaints from people living on Milan Hollow Road and that private development
That's
next
the
to
same
Cornerstone,
process we follow,
complaining about
and
that,
we
that
get
it's
turned down.
55 now through Milan Hollow in
No
the town of
study, no
Clinton.
nothing.
Let's try it again. And
Well,
what,
yeah.
what we talked about was
Yeah.
But we
making
never
it
passed the referendum.
Oh, yeah, we did.
No,
Carol, didn't we pass resolutions?
no, we did a study and everything else, and we sent the request.
Yeah.
We can pass a resolution.
That we requested from Dutchess
County.
Right.
And Dutchess County set forth on their own, with the box. And
Right.
what do they call, like a car?
Right,
Yep.
a counter in the speed
Yes.
counter,
count,
yeah.
exactly. And the car count never met their threshold to lower the speed. But Elliott's thought this year was because they're building
school zone.
another
Right.
school, right, that it's a school zone, that it might be.
But I also remember back in 2016,
rejected. Both
we got,
got rejected.
right, but the town board passed a resolution before we submitted the request, and we were still
Well,
turned,
that's part of the process.
right, and we were turned down anyhow.
And there's apparently a mathematical equation about how many driveways. in
How many
town.
driveways and the distance, how wide the road is, how wide the shoulder is,
See what- how many
sight
accidents there
distance.
are.
Right.
But that's just crazy. That's 55 miles an hour now.
But
in
Todd,
the town
you
of
also
Clinton on Milan
mentioned
Hollow.
that
I agree.
you thought
Absolutely.
that the town only passed the resolution on town roads.
Town roads.
Versus they said any road
Any
within the
roads,
town.
yes, any roads in the town of Milan.
Is that their wording?
But-
Yes, I mean,
We'll
I
have
I
to
don't
get a
know word
copy
for
of it,
word,
but-
but that's what I was told from the Milan Highway Superintendent.
So the thing is,
From the Milan Town Clerk, you can get that,
the
yes.
thing is on our town roads, it's already 30.
Right,
And it can't be that on county roads. It
No,
it just can't be.
what we talked about, and we'll have to, Carol's going to get a copy of the Milan law so we can see it, but the discussion was, so there's already a law in place that town roads are 30, but we could say county roads,
I said any town road would be 30. Any county or state road would be 45, whatever.
Yeah.
And any hamlet, any road that crosses through a hamlet
Oh,
would be reduced to 25.
I'm willing to pass anything.
But that still has to go to the state.
But I'm saying if we passed the resolution and then sent it,
Yeah.
for the time it will take us, let's try it.
Absolutely.
No, I don't. Yes, I chatted with them, because we got phone
It's easier
calls.
than dealing
I got,
with,
and because the
Yeah.
hamlets really
Right.
should even be less than the 35.
no, I agree. But dealing with,
Then we don't have to deal with the school zone. That's a whole nother process.
dealing with Albany is, as we've learned from experience,
Right.
is fruitless. So let's try it. Absolutely, let's try it.
all right.
If it doesn't work, we're no worse off than we are now.
Yeah, exactly.
So for sure, yeah, absolutely.
Lost a little time. but-
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So now we can open up to public discussion.
Yeah.
Public discussion about any
Any-
item related
any
to the
item.
town. Do we have any takers? Yes, we do.
One last one.
One last one.
All right.
You
Oh, I'm
haven't
sorry,
said
make a motion.
enough.
I make a motion that we go into public discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Todd?
The only thing I have is the Town of Clinton Highway Department is seeking a laborer for the labor position. It's a union position. Don't hold me to it. It's around $17, $18 an hour. It's full-time CSEA in the union. CDL is preferred. You do not need a CDL, but willing to get a CDL, women, minorities, whoever. Anybody in the Town of Clinton, I'd like to hire first, but
Can old
I'll go to the
people-
outside after that.
Can
But
old people apply for this, too?
Yes, we
Sure.
don't discriminate here in the town of Clinton.
yeah, I won't discriminate.
Got to pass the eye test.
Uh-oh, forget it. Never mind.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice? I'll move that we close the public discussion. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
And unless there's anything else, I will move that we adjourn.
Second.
Is there a second? Discussion? All in